Good evening, everyone. I'd like to formally welcome you here tonight, including members of the gallery and the press. Tonight's council meeting. My name is Councillor Rick Cunningham and the Golden Plains Shire. This council meeting has taken place at the Well in Smarsdale and is open to the public. This meeting is being live streamed in accordance with council's governance rules, and I welcome any viewers joining us online tonight. As the meeting is open to the public to attend, if the live stream ceases at any time, the meeting will continue. I'll now recite the opening declaration on behalf of all the councillors. We, the councillors of the Golden Plains Shire, declare that we will undertake on every occasion carry out our duties in the best interest of the community. Our conduct will maintain the standards of Code of Good Governance, that we may faithfully represent our public trust placed in this council by the Shire. The Development of Country. Golden Plains Shire spans the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung and the Tamar people. Council acknowledges them as the traditional owners and custodians. Pay our respects to both Wadawurrung and East Tamar, elders past, present and emerging. Council also extends that respect to all Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander people who are part of the Golden Plains Shire. I'd also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge that this week is Reconciliation Week, and the theme for 2024 is now more than ever. Now more than ever is a reminder to everyone that no matter what as a country, we must all work together to continue the work required to achieve true reconciliation. Council is committed to reconciliation through its reconciliation. Councillors, do we have any apologies for this meeting or requests for leave of absence? I do have an apology from Councillor Whitfield. Councillor Gamble.
No, with a leave of absence for the June meeting, please.
Councillors, can I have a second for that motion, please? Councillor Rowe, thank you. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Confirmation of minutes.
Request to leave
Sorry
with that.
Councillor Rowe.
Request a leave of absence. I'm getting in early from Friday the 28th of June 2024, Wednesday the 17th of July 2024, inclusive of these dates. School holidays, family, and in my leave of absence, I request to the CEO to continue to give me notice of any meetings to be held during the period of my absence.
That's right. Can I have the date again, please? Friday, 28th of
Friday the 28th of June,
yes,
2024, to Wednesday the 17th of July 2024, and just that comment there that I've just issued to the CEO. Well, please.
Councillors, can I second for that request? Moving over. Confirmation of minutes. Councillors, we have a resolution before us to confirm the minutes and the confidential minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held 23rd of April 2024 as circulated. Please ask for a mover. Yes. Please ask for a seconder. Councillor Gamble. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Conflict of interest. Councillors, are there any declarations of conflict of interest? I wish to declare a general conflict of interest in regards to agenda item 7.2, Bannockburn Recreation Precinct, Dardale Drive. Update as it relates to the land of Dardale Drive, matters which I previously have declared a conflict of interest as my daughter in close proximity and is also public question time. Public question time runs for 30 minutes prior to consideration of all agenda by council. We consider questions received with notice on the public. For each person who has submitted a question forward, to ask their question as it was submitted. Please note, question time is not an opportunity to make general statements or people about council or council office. Our first submission is from Paul Stefanovic, and I understand that Elizabeth Gillespie is representing Paul. Please confirm with Elizabeth that you are representing Paul for his questions. Thank you. Elizabeth, would you like to read out your first question on behalf of Paul?
My household made multiple reports of overriding dynamics. As a consequence, council commissioned a noise report. First report. Council received and considered that first report. That first report provided support for our ongoing complaint about excessive noise. While the council, for some reason best known to council, was dissatisfied with that first report and commissioned a second report from another acoustic expert. Council notified us and advised, due to a number of factual and legal errors, including assessing the noise against incorrect standards, council officers were concerned about the accuracy of the report. To address the officers' concern, council engaged redacted company name to peer review the redacted company name report. My first question to council is, council conveyed to the first report author any time about the concerns of the first report in order to give the first report author the opportunity to reply to the
Response will be followed by Director Joe Sivovic, Director of Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, council did convey satisfaction with the author of the first report on multiple occasions.
Elizabeth, would you like to read out Paul's second question, please?
The second question to council is, if council didn't give the first report when the right reply, then what was council's reason for not doing so?
Okay. Joe Sivovic, would you like to reply?
As I mentioned, we did give the author our reasons, and therefore the question is, if we didn't do it, why not? We did do it.
Thanks, Mr. Gillespie. Can I please ask if Sharon Turkovic is here? As Sharon is not with us tonight, her question will respond to next questions. So if you'd like to read out your first question, please.
Adopting a new disability action plan for 2025 to 2029. Council states, the purpose of the disability action plan is to set out actions to help local governments reduce and remove barriers for people with a disability to foster a more accessible and inclusive community. My question is, does the disability action plan also include someone with a diagnosis of autism?
Response will be provided by Director Gray.
Chair, and thank you for your question, Elizabeth. In line with the Victorian State Disability Action Plan, both the current Active Ageing and Inclusion Plan 2020 to 2024 and the In Development Draft Disability Action Plan 2025 to 2029 encompass the needs of our community, which includes disabilities.
Elizabeth, would you like to read out your second question, please?
Issue 2. Council is adopting a new disability action plan 2025 to 2029. Council states, Council has been consulting the community through community workshops and active ageing and inclusion advisory committee throughout March. Community members are also encouraged to contribute to the development of the disability action plan through a Have Your Say survey. Council aims to ensure the plan aligns with community aspirations and the needs of people with disability and their families within Bond and Shire Council. My question is, I'm a full-time carer and parent to an autistic adult who is non-verbal and requires 24/7 special needs. Unfortunately, I was never made aware of this community workshop or the Active Ageing and Inclusion Advisory Committee. I don't have time, energy or motivation to trawl through the council website on the off chance that there might be something disability related that might help my son. But I would still like to have my say. Is it too late?
I'll ask the reply to that question.
And thank you for your second question, Ms. Hill. Have you say consultation, the Disability Action Plan 2025-2029 has been delivered. The responses from the Have You Say consultation have been used to help the development of the Disability Action Plan. The draft disability action plan will go to the council meeting for approval to be made available in the public exhibition, and will provide the next opportunity for community.
Councillors, we now move on to consider the formal agenda. Councillors, I'll refer you to page 7 of the report, agenda item 7.1 delegates report, and in formal meetings of council. The recommendation council receives the notice of delegates reports and formal meetings of council for the past month. I have a mover, please, for the recommendation. Councillor Gamble. Please ask for a seconder. Councillor Kirby. Councillor Gamble, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. To start with, I commend Mayor Cunningham for the sheer number of events and representation performed over the month, as indicated in the agenda. It's been working very hard, and additional to extra significant requirements arranging for and conducting the CEO recruitment process. I'd like to make, as the Municipal Association of Victoria delegate, I presented a report to fellow councillors and senior management a week ago, the following being an extract from it. CEO Michael Tudball and I represent Golden Plains at the MAV State Council meeting on the 17th of May in the beautiful Melbourne Town Hall. There are over 60 individual motions voted on, and David Clark, the MAV president and fellow councillor from neighbouring Pyrenees Shire, emphasised this meeting was akin to a local government parliament and provides for local government to speak with a unified voice. So it's a really important thing. The majority of the 79 Victorian local governments were represented with both CEO. Sally Capp gave the key speech. She's spoken her experiences in defending the scapegoating of local government re the holding up of housing. MAV CEO Kelly Grigsby introduced and outlined the new MAV 2024 to 2027 strategic plan. Got the hard copy here, but see the website for the PDF copy, and also for a listing of all of those motions presented at the meeting and whether they were carried or not. The strategic plan, Shaping Our Future, highlights how, quote, we will help Victorian councils innovate, adapt and thrive as we work to build a more resilient and sustainable Victoria. It included 10 enabling priorities, including active local democracy, connected places, health and wellbeing, sustainable economy, future generation, First Peoples, local government relations, climate and regenerative design, diversity, equity and inclusion, resilience and recovery, and intergenerational infrastructure. Quote, the MAV strategic plan is an invitation for all stakeholders to join with us in a shared mission to shape a better Victoria. I went to the Anzac Day services, attending Teesdale, Inverleigh and Bannockburn. Most of those were with the Mayor. All were really well attended and well run events. I thank the Inverleigh RSL in particular, their sub-branch, and the many helpers organising and running the Anzac Day proceedings, particularly Dima Johnson, that I could use his name in council meeting, in this southern part of the Shire. It means a lot for many in our community and helps educate and display and respect historical events that have shaped Australia as we know it today. Additionally, along with officers, I attended the community information session up here at Flysdale regarding the old Weatherford Church building on the corner block, this historical block nearby. It was attended by 14 community members who received a presentation by council officers. The officers presented on the findings of the building, condition assessment and the heritage assessment. The three options comprise retaining the building on site, offering the building for sale and removal through an expression of interest process. Council officers are currently receiving submissions from community members feeding into the preparation of a future report to council. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gowan. Councillor Kirby, to speak to the motion, please.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, yesterday we attended the opening of the Cressy water tower. It was a beautiful mural that's been painted on both sides, and I'd really like to thank Robin Alexander for her hard work and dedication that she's put into creating this mural. And it was a very special time because we actually had 3 councils come together to make this happen. So we had the Colac Otway Shire, we had the Corangamite Shire, and we had the Golden Plains Shire. So 3 councils working together on this very special activity was a great thing by the residents and everyone who was invited, and especially Barwon Water for offering their water tower to be painted on. If you do get a chance, please go along and have a look. It's an amazing piece of artwork, and it was a great day had by them. I also visited some residents over at Berrybank, and the main outcome from that was that there is a plaque there that's from the 1944 fires where some young people died, and they're asking for tourist information signs. So this is something I'll bring up with council, but I think we don't have enough. We have plaques and we have different memorial sites around the Shire, but we don't have places of interest that it's showing where they are, and a lot of people don't know exactly where they are, and this one's in Berrybank. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Kirby. Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Getz, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the Anzac Day service at Mydale here, where I was Master Ceremonies. Then I attended Hot-Footed at Haddon, where I was to lay a rig, which I did, Shire. And I spoke with Chris Rigg, who's the organiser from the Lions Club up at Haddon. He wasn't feeling crash hot. Anyway, I sort of helped take control of the proceedings, and unfortunately Chris Rigg passed away just after. So that was a bit of a sad day up there. Attended the Manabada plaque unveiling, which commended 3 soldiers, one being my future uncle. He was burned to death at the age of 23 years of age. He tried to escape the fire, and he headed for his truck, which is 40 yards away, and was burned to death. His truck was still there with the dog sitting waiting in the truck, so it was a pretty sad day, even though it was a great day as well. The sun, it rained nearly all day, but at 2 o'clock when we were due to unveil the plaque, the sun came out and shone upon us. So we had over probably 100 and something people in attendance, so it was well attended. I also had a meeting with some local business people in Smythesville here about businesses trying to get going ahead, and just in a short thing, if I could ask, if I could get a report on subdivisions that are happening in Linton, Scarsdale, Smythesville and northwards towards Bells Road from the start of 2021. Probably if I could take that to your department, Phil, or if I could get a CEO, if I could please, I'd appreciate it. So just trying to get things happening in the north of the Shire if we could. So, and that's about all, I think, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for that.
Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Shaggy.
Thank you very much. Quiet month for me, which was nice with not a few meetings that'll occur next month, but just noting it's probably a busy month, sort of speaking to residents or hearing back from our residents and ratepayers with regards to our draft budget that have gone out, and some of the questions and queries that they have had through that process. Appreciating that consultation period's over now, and hopefully all those residents I spoke to have put in concerns to the budget. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Councillors, Yeah, it was a very extremely busy but rewarding myself as the councillor. I attended the Careers Expo, which was held last Friday at the Bannockburn YCMA. Over 35 stallholders were in attendance, providing students and young people with the opportunity to access information regarding education and career paths. Approximately over 550 students attended the expo, which is a great outcome. Personally, I'd like to thank and acknowledge the great work behind the scenes of the members of the Freezer, Council Youth and Community Development teams putting on such a great event. I also attended the Ida Hobbit Day held at John Forming Arts Centre. Ida Hobbit Day is a day that provides the opportunity to celebrate the pride of people who've worked tirelessly to build equality around the world, raising the awareness of discrimination LGBT still face today. I was invited to and attended the Garibaldi Community Plan launch, which was held at the stunning location of the community hall, Garibaldi. I also included the official opening of the wetlands. Anyone that hasn't been up there, I encourage you to go and have a look. It's absolutely magnificent. I attended the final sessions of Community Leadership Program that run over a 10-month time period. The program was aimed to develop the knowledge, skills, networks and confidence and to provide pathway networks to participants. Congratulations to the 5 participants that successfully completed the course. Attended the official opening and upgrades of facilities at Haddon and Bannockburn Kindergarten and Early Learning Centres. The upgrades featured new modular buildings which will allow continued access to high quality childhood education in the region. As we know, the project was fully funded by Victorian Government and with collaboration with the Golden Plains Shire, Cardinia and Early Learning. There was many other community meetings and events that I attended during the month. One thing which is very evident is that attendance of council at meeting and events is extremely appreciated, acknowledged. There's a commitment and real interest in our local communities. And I hope our CEO is okay. Councillor Campbell, would you like to close?
Yes, Mayor. Just to add further to the, yeah, sorry if I'm coughing. As you have said, I've got some coughs and we'll struggle through a bit.
So,
the Career Expo, yes, I agree. It was a very impressive event and it's funded by the Victorian Government, but it was council officers working, as you mentioned, that really developed and delivered that expo program. It was also done in collaboration with a range of local education, training and employment agencies, which you mentioned. Very impressive event. And so I thank council officers for their role in making it a success it was. Even the location of the basketball court, the YMCA building, is directly opposite the school. Prep to 12 school, yeah, and allowed waves of students to come over in groups and work their way around the different schools. So also, Mayor, you did a great launch of the new opening, the sensory garden at the youth hub there, which was kind of a highlight for about 20 year 6 to 7 students that were involved in the original design of it. So to see their project fully fulfilled was great. And noting that youth hub was actually an ex-council building, with a big renovation. The other one is being used up here at from memory, the Linton Netball Court. So, yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Councillor, move the motion. All those in favour? Councillors, we'll move on to item 7.2, which is the Bannockburn Recreation Precinct. As I've declared a conflict in relation to this matter, I indicate the chair. Can I please ask, do I have a councillor nominating to take the chair? Councillor Gamble. Can I please have a seconder? Councillor Kirby. And I'm going to hand the chair to Councillor Gamble. Recommends later. Thank you, Councillor Gamble.
Okay, before us, item 7.2, we have a recommendation. The council, the comments received through the Have Your Say engagement and the outcomes from the community drop-in session. Point 1. Point 2, advise the lead petitioner of the outcomes of the engagement. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Kirby. And a seconder? Have a seconder for the recommendation, please. Thank you, Councillor Sharkey. Are there, I should have asked prior, are there any questions about this recommendation? Okay, all right. In that case, Councillor Kirby, do you wish to speak to the recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. Yes, so council received this petition and they had 39 submissions that were made via Have Your Say in the engagement page. And there was also 19 residents who attended a drop-in session at the Golden Plains Civic Centre on the 22nd of April. What we heard from the residents is that they were wanting more recreational and open space is required, not less. Residents brought into the area expecting the land to be open space and not housing. There is not enough infrastructure or services to support social or affordable housing for residents. It cannot accommodate the additional traffic, and the lot sizes are too small. We did have an open meeting with the residents as well, and there was a lot more that come out of that. I believe that we have been listening to the residents. We do understand their concerns, and at the moment, this is allowing the petitioners their chance for us to have a say and listen to what their concerns are. We know that we can receive the update on actions relating to this petition, and we know that at the end of the day, we've got to listen to the ratepayers. We have to believe in what they want as well as what is in the best interest of the council. So I think at the moment we're just in a catch-22 because we are awaiting further information from the state government, and I think at this stage I wouldn't like to actually put too much on the table to say that as a council we're not going in either direction at the moment until we hear the total outcome. But to receive this petition, I think it's and the information, I think it's a good starting point that we have started listening to the community. We've heard what they want, and going forward, this is a very it's open to both sides of the equation, and I think it's good that we have listened and heard the concerns of the community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kirby. Councillor Sharkey, do you wish to speak?
Yeah, thank you. I'm just happy to endorse the recommendation there that we're sort of noting the comments, taking them on board, and also advising the lead petitioner of the outcomes of the engagement. It is the wheels are in motion. We are on a process, and that's why these residents have formed the petition or objection. You know, I think there's an overarching question there for us as councillors in what it looks like when you do fail community consultation, or you don't take the right steps during it, because it's very difficult to, like, you read all the comments there, you appreciate all the comments, you appreciate all the concerns, but it's not true community consultation because there is an opposing side to that, but we're not engaging with them, and we haven't engaged correctly. So we're sort of doing community consultation in reverse. So hopefully hopefully, as I raised a couple of meetings ago and wanted this to be a little bit more fast tracked, hopefully the first meeting that Councillor Kirby referred to, whilst there was a lot of people in there with a certain sentiment, there was an awful lot of residents in that room that were confused. Some people wanted an Aldi, or they wanted shopping centres. That would never happen, but it just sort of goes to highlight some of the confusion of some of those residents. So I think going forward, hopefully that conversation comes to, and whatever the outcome is at the end of it, it is what it is. But hopefully the engagement from us as council to these people to create less confusion. We're not going to appease everyone. You never will appease everyone when it comes to planning decisions, as we are all well aware. But you don't want a failed process, and hopefully this is going a little bit of the way to amending some of those concerns, but we've still got a long way to go. Thank you.
Do I have any? Councillor Rowe, you wish to speak?
Yes, please, if I can. Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to note, if I can, please, the 39 submissions from this group, and they had on via Have Your Say engagement page, and also to the 19 residents that attended the drop-in session from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock at Goulburn Plains Civic Centre on the 22nd of April. I too, along with a number of councillors, attended the session that we had at the soccer field with the community in relation to this Dardell Drive precinct. And I'd just like to say that this is really a poor reflection on this council that we put the cart before the horse on this rezoning. Prior to March 2021, we should have had a decent consultation on this subject with the immediate residents of the community, and that is what I wanted. But I couldn't get that across. I couldn't get that over the line with my fellow councillors at the time, and now we're paying the price for it. Thank you.
Any other councillors wish to speak? Say a couple of words myself before returning to Councillor Kirby. Yeah, with this recommendation, it further acknowledges that the concerns out there and that we are willing to listen. We have, I think, in the past and still do acknowledge there was insufficient engagement at the beginning. It doesn't mean that the proposal was the wrong decision. It just means that we could have gone about it a different way. We were early on expecting the Minister for Planning to set up or the planning process to set up an engagement process that didn't happen as we thought it might. Additionally, yes, councillors have received a lot of correspondence. Some of us attended the meeting mentioned at the soccer pavilion. And I just mentioned that councillors, however, do have a responsibility for the common good, to consider the future needs and balance of open space and meeting needs fairly and equally across the whole Shire. And also the pressing need for housing and diversity of housing as well. So, yeah, while I personally value open space, it's the reason I moved into the Shire. There has to be balance again, a range of factors there. Nevertheless, I endorse this recommendation. I wouldn't say nevertheless, I endorse this recommendation, and I'll leave it there. Councillor Kirby, do you wish to speak further?
Yes, I just would once again like to thank the residents for taking the time to put a submission in if they did not already do so with the state government. I think going forward, us councillors have a lot to think about in which way we are going forward with this proposal. But for the time being, I'd just like to thank the leading petitioner and just to let you know what the results are from this. So, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
No, thank you. Thank you. And we'll need the Mayor back. Exactly. Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous. I'll now ask the Mayor to return to the chair. On to item number 7.3.
Drench.
COVID after the light.
Sorry, yes, Councillors, move on to agenda item 7.3. On page 3 of the agenda, I'll take this recommendation as read. Are there any questions to the applicable director? No? Councillor Wright? Oh, sorry. Councillor Wright?
Yeah, maybe to Phil Jezbevic, if I could, please. I just noticed the Copkeys Road reconstruction of 1.3 million now. Just want to ask a question. You, Director, if I can, please. And I might have already asked it in the past, but I was contacted by a member of the public, and in relation to the maintenance of Copkeys Road, he told me it was a Golden Plains Shire responsibility, and he thought that the Capital Works and Reconstruction shared responsibility, Golden Plains Shire and the Ballarat Council. Now, I don't know anything. I just want you to comment on that, please.
I'll take that on notice because I need to check the agreement between us and Ballarat. But what I do know is that Copkeys Road was funded through Roadster Recovery. My sense went on the communication between us and Ballarat, but I'll take the question on notice and confirm.
Thanks very much, Director.
Councillor Kirby?
Thank you. Just a bit, but it's great. I'm just wondering, have we heard when we might be compensated for the floods? Do we have any idea of when that money might be coming through?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Kirby. Unfortunately, that is an ongoing debate that our council and our other colleagues in the same boat have been having continuous state and federal authorities on this matter. You'll remember that former CEO Brassless and the Mayor attended quite a few meetings escalating these issues again recently. To date, we still have not got any clear guidance on when we'll be receiving those claim processes.
Thank you.
Councillor Rowe, thank you.
Yes, so we just had a second one. Just wanted to ask another question as well, please. I just noticed that the contract that had been awarded between 200,000 and 450 is for the road construction and roadwood construction and capping landfill rehabilitation, 314,000. I know it was carried forward from the previous year, 2023. I think it was 760 or whatever.
450, I think it was. I think it's coming under budget, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So it has come in on the budget. Okay, that was the question I was asking. Thank you.
Councillor's going to please ask for a move for the recommendation.
Yeah.
Sharp, thank you. Please ask for a seconder. Councillor Rowe. Councillor Shark, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is our third quarter financial report, and we are noting this here tonight for the report for the past 9 months, ending on the 31st of March. This is a high-level full-year forecast and also includes the financial statements. This was brought to the Audit and Risk Committee, which have also looked over this. It is it does make quite interesting read from our perspective as councillors, appreciating none of us here are chartered accountants and that, but it is quite interesting when you sort of read through this, whilst we've also got our draft budget out there promising the community this and promising these numbers, and then and acknowledging these are the current numbers. So there is a lot of challenges that is presented for us as you read through here in the report. And this report assists us as council to gain the assurance in relation to financial management of our operations. Our operating results for the period is a surplus of 4.2, which is compared to the original budgeted surplus of 9.8 million and a revised budget surplus of 13.1. So this in turn is an 8.9 million unfavourable variance to the revised budget, which doesn't sound great, but you do need to dive down deeper to get an appreciation of the whys, which is our operating grants, our capital grants, monetary contributions, net gain and loss on disposals, and materials and services, which is 1.2 favourable variance, and then depreciation, which is one that has hurt us there. That's an unfavourable variance due to the significant increase in asset values of 46.8 million from the asset revaluation of building and infrastructure assets. Our adjusted underlying results as at 31st of March is generating a loss of 697,000 compared to our revised budget of an underlying surplus of 3.2. So this again is an unfavourable variance of $2.4 million. Our revised budgets, and again, you've sort of got to go there. You've got to have an appreciation for our the key issues and our risks that are presented through this that we must keep an eye on. And obviously the fact, and we've spoken about it, last year's budget had the allocation of we were going to sell six parcels of land at Lamandra. We cut that down to 4, then it was revised during the year to 2. So we've made a significant reassessment on our expectations there, and I think we can all appreciate the market has been quite slow. We've got a couple of sales. There's a little bit of positivity there, but it's definitely not what we wanted to be this time 12 months ago. Again, as Councillor Kirby raised there, the flood emergency works claims is also in there, which is identifies another challenge for us. And again, as I outlined there before, that big one there is that depreciation with the increase of asset values. So some of the works that we have done, the capital works that have been done, it is also a challenge for us. We can appreciate that many of these projects we would like to have been done quite a while ago, and the longer they're put off, the more the costs increase. But you can see some of the projects there that were rolled over from last year into this year's budget. Landfill rehabilitation works. Myself and Councillor Rowe took a few moments on the way up here to take a little bit of a dive into the works that you can clearly see that are happening there at the Linton Oval reconstruction and the 871,000 that's there to be spent. But we that's a good bit of work there. But you can see the turf is going to be put down in September this year. Lethbridge, we spent 400,000 on a play space, and the Leedale Equestrian 250,000. So a lot of challenges there for us. It's not entirely the best of news, but I think as I started saying there, it is quite confusing when you read all those sort of negative, unfavourable figures, and we're going into a budget that is singing a different tune to a certain degree. As Councillor O identified there, that Ropewood construction and capping landfill rehabilitation was approved under the contract awards, which I believe must have been done with the support of the newly formed contracts, tenders and grants committee, which is a good asset that was put together there at a meeting ago for more due diligence there for that process. So that's all very good. Thank you.
Councillor Rowe, I'd like to speak to the motion.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to thank Councillor Sharkey for those comments. I think you've stolen most of my lines, but however, I'll go over a few. I'm happy to see the contract awarded for the Ropewood construction and capping of the landfill rehabilitation. It's a great outcome because a lot of these projects like that we've inherited as a council. Time that we got on and did something about them, and we are at the moment. I'd just like to speak also to the tenders that have been awarded during the quarter, especially in relation to our roads and bridges projects. It's approximately $1 million been awarded there. And I'd also like to mention about the Inverleigh active use space, $2,050,000 there, and also the Wodeyalloc Recreation Reserve Sports Lighting, 450. So if you add those two together, there's $2.5 million that's been awarded during the quarter for that sports upgrade there, and also for our Inverleigh active youth space. So thank you.
Any other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Campbell.
Yeah, speaking broadly, three main areas identified by our adjusted underlying deficit is unfavourable, what was hoped for, or what was anticipated. The three main areas that Councillor Sharkey mentioned was one of the main ones was the asset re-evaluation. That was basically caused by inflationary pressures on material costs, construction costs, etc., which hit council in the realm of over 20%. I've heard it mentioned in some quarters. So this is sector-wide burden on local government right across Australia too, I think I could say, and Victoria. Those construction costs and things going through the roof meant that the value of those assets have risen to reflect the replacement cost. So because of that extra increase in valuation, the downstream effect is the depreciation has to be calculated into the revised budget. And the quarter, this is a Q3 financial report, so it's sort of like a running report. And so the extent of that is pretty difficult to anticipate. Another factor Councillor Sharkey mentioned was the land sales post-COVID dropped significantly. The heat went right out of the market, I believe. Councillor Sharkey would have a better idea than that, but yeah, so unfortunately our Lemandra Drive land sales, they flattened right out, and you know, it might have been a good idea to drop the prices to perhaps move more of them in retrospect. There's also still ramifications of the 2022 flood events, the flow on, so to speak. And yeah, they're the three main things that have affected this underlying deficit we're looking at this stage of our budget cycle. The report, however, does recognise substantial achievements made for the community over this period. On page 15, we have a list of quite a few items that have been delivered. Hopkins Road reconstruction and Cape Clear Road. With a lot of projects on the brink of either being activated or in tender processes and in the pipeline, basically. So when they come through, that they'll be accounted for as well. So this report also recognises further down the contracts that have been awarded, and these are other projects that are in the tender stage, including things like the Wodeyalloc Recreation Reserve, Markdale Road, into the active use space, which is full on under construction at the moment, and the replacement of Henderson's Road Bridge in Bangani. So, yeah, from my perspective, the deficits are not bad in themselves. They're only bad when there is no capacity to turn them around, to come back to black in the books. And especially for a council budget, it's quite we can't just cut costs willy-nilly to achieve surpluses all the time, because when we're faced with circumstances like this, and knowing that our longer term budget situation will be much better, anticipated in the next couple of years, and then much more in the in the black, then it's important that a council budget retains staff and morale, functionality, and also to meet the community expectations, fulfilling our council plan and things. So, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Any councillors wish to speak to the motion? Kirby, thank you.
Yes, going forward, we know that Lamanda Drive, we will see some extra land sales that are being come through, and that will definitely boost our budget. However, some of the good projects that we can see that have come out of the budget, once again, we were talking about the landfill. We had $375,000 from phase 3 from government grants. So we had public open space asset renewal, where we did pathwork, street furniture and barbecue shelters. And these are going to be completed at Edinburgh. We're doing every public toilet, including a new septic system. As we know, the price of septics are not cheap. And that's scheduled for installation in May 2024. So that's probably just finished. And it will also include car parking and pathworks for accessibility. Another great one that we've seen too is the $250,000 for the Lead Equestrian Upgrade Female-Friendly Equestrian Centre. We know that that's just being finished, and they've had an undercover arena, surfacing and fencing. This is completed now, and we're just waiting for an opening date. So look forward to going along to that with the Minister for Sport in June. Other than that, I think we're not looking too bad. We're still waiting for a bit of money to come through from the flood recovery, and I think at this stage it'll be an interesting fourth quarter.
Thank you, Councillor Kirby. Any councillors wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll ask Councillor Sharkey to close.
Happy to take that as put happy for that to a vote. I think everyone's covered that quite well. Thank you.
Very much. Councillors, may I put the motion? All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. In the roll 7.4, Council Plan 2021 to 2023. I refer councillors to page 19 of the agenda for this report. Thanks for the report that's read. Are there any questions to the deliberation? If not, please ask for a move. Councillor Kirby. Ask for a motion. Councillor Campbell. Councillor Kirby, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the strategic direction of Council for quarter 3 are under the themes of recovery, safety, health and wellbeing, and will continue the improvement to council-owned assets. We're preparing communities with the skills and knowledge in preparation for emergency situations. These include recovery to resilience programs, which are being undertaken at the moment. Council is also working with the Country Fire Authority to initiate planning for a new fire station in Doreel. So this will be very exciting news for the residents of Doreel, and we know that after the recent fires, this will probably be a great initiative going forward. So we are also making way for leadership and advocacy practices in our communities. So going forward, we'll have local leaders stepping up and taking on leadership roles in cases of emergencies. A new and innovative online community directory to strengthen communities has also been achieved on an online forum on the council website. Other initiatives include the Edible Garden Program, reusable products rebate program, and Choose Water Everyday campaign. We have seen maintenance programs have been delivered successfully with facility upgrades in drainage and open space developments. For Q3, we are progressing with play space, sport and recreation strategies, the footpath strategy, while also planning for future developments around the Shire. Council has laid a strong foundation for early education Shire, as well as we've seen the opening of 3 new facilities. However, 5 of the 14 actions are experiencing delays and progress, and some of these actions we will look forward to seeing the outcomes in the near future, these being addressed. Continued action and planning will ensure the successful completion of the council plan for 2021 to 2025.
Councillor.
Yeah, council plan Q3, even though we're in our 4th year as councillors, and last year as a councillor group, but it's year 3 of the plan, because the first year has taken sort of formulating that plan. And our plan was very much driven by the Community Vision 2040, which has had a refresh that comes up in the subsequent agenda item. But the community vision was a survey of the directions and values and way that the community wanted to go, and to see their local government working for them. So that information was captured and has given us the different areas that the community values and wants from their local government. So I note with this council, sorry, I just lost the screen there. This report here, the main area where we're lacking, which is not meeting its goals in comparison with the other areas, is the sustainability goals. And these are goals that we set for ourselves in the council plan. I make it clear it is not an issue I have with any one officer as a team, but my reading is it points to an area. This is an area we need to have more staff employed in and more resources allocated to. The deficits identified relate to waste management and minimising waste through education programs and reviewing our waste strategy. This is a really big area, and we've only got a small team in that area, and they've been sidetracked and had to dedicate a lot of time to new policies coming in, big significant policies, as we all know, relating to the 4-bin waste system, 4-stream waste system, and so we haven't had the resources able to cover the other areas. We've also had other issues too, like the integrated water management plan, and then we've had the flood issues as well, which also feed into this, into the team's responsibilities in that area. There has been progress made, and there will be much more coming through. I've spoken to the director on this, and it is looking much better for the coming quarter. And but given that all of this action that we have in the in this area, I really do feel that directing more resources towards this waste area in particular is an important thing that we should be doing for the long-term health of fulfilling what the community wants, as seen through our council plan. Thank you.
Other councillors wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Sharkey, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. And probably was going to echo a little bit of the sentiment from Councillor Gamble there. The council plan is something that we put together, and it's our aspirations to do this over the four years. I find it quite a complicated plan, because we put all these things up and we want to, you know, put residents on the moon. It's very aspirational, the council plan, but whilst it's our best of intentions to do that, you know, there's during the journey there's a lot of things there that Councillor Gamble sort of identified, and some of them are on us, but some of those then are the sort of state government, or they are you know, for example, the Northern Tree landscaping project, which is sort of coming to a little bit of a halt because of the lack of funding from state government and things like that. But I do find it hard, and I did bring it up the last time this council plan came to us, to try to have a document that expresses itself visually better, to get a better understanding, because we're sort of using a sign, you know, red, amber and green traffic light type scenario here, and we've only got green and yellow. Some of those ones that are identified there that have only progressed 10% have got their issues there. The report that's put together here that's gone to the public is very it's a difficult read. There's a lot of words there, and I think that presentation of that can be just to sort of identify where we're kicking goals, but then identifying some of those challenges that sort of Councillor Gamble has put there, because there's some of those areas that we can put more emphasis on and say, look, we want more attention here, but then there's other areas there that we've got to concede on and say, look, we're not going to meet those obligations because the money's not there. It's been redirected. The council plan is put together. It was a different time, so there's I find it quite challenging as a councillor reading these reports to highlight the good parts where we're kicking goals, but then also to acknowledge the challenges that are presented to us. And yeah, I can't pick out any items there. There's a lot of yellow there, and there's a lot of 10, 20, 60%, which I always struggle to get an understanding how we determine that exact percentage, because it is a journey we're on, and we're supposed to be finishing up all of this by the end of the term. But yeah, just probably a little bit maybe for the next council group to sort of get a little bit of it's something that reads a little bit nicer and identifies some of those challenges that Councillor Gamble has identified. All others, thank you.
Very much, Councillor Sharkey. Any other councillors who speak the motion? Against the motion? If not, I'll ask Councillor Kirby to close.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I think overall we should be celebrating what we've achieved over the last 3 years, and as we go forward, we know that there is a lot of initiatives that need a bit more improvement in. But overall, the work that the council has done shows that, you know, we're very respectful of what the community want, and we've listened to what they want, and we've acted on it. And for an example, we know that the Northern Streetscape Framework, there was a lot of work done in that area with the 3 towns. And yes, council put in for an application for that to go ahead with the federal government Growing Regions fund, but we're unsuccessful. But yet we're still pushing along, and we're going to get as much done as we can in that space. But once again, the council will also, the officers will put in for another grant along the line, but at least we can see actions taking place for our communities. So with that, I think we've got one more quarter to go on this, and hopefully some of these other areas might be able to improve, and the ones that are finished, maybe some of the council staff might be able to jump on board and help the others. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Kirby, I now put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Agenda item 7.5, special rates and charge draft policy. I refer council to page 27 of the agenda. Are there any questions to the applicable director? Councillor Gamble, thank you.
I have a question on one issue regarding this special rates and charges. Is there may be people who may not be able to pay, even if they are in favour of the improvements they're likely to benefit from. They may not be able to afford and not likely to be able to afford into the future. So they're on a pension, for example, the extra surcharge and their rates that occurred, because most of the neighbours agreed to, say, a gravel road being sealed, for example. So what proposal is there perhaps going forward, recognising that this is just an out for a community feedback document, then what are the considerations are likely to be made in relation to those people that may have trouble paying for a specials rates and charges if they're obliged to?
Thank you, Councillor Gamble, for the question. And I might also defer to the interim CEO and my fellow director to add to my comments. Given that this council doesn't have a history with special rates and charges, but based on my research, most councils will allow payment plans for special rate and charges projects for anywhere between 5 and 10 years to be paid off through the rate notice. I believe the government allocated interest rate does apply to that in those circumstances. The other comment I'd make is that the policy as drafted has set a reasonably high benchmark of 60% support for a project to be considered. Generally speaking, like it says, if more than majority support, you can go ahead. If it's over, if council is seeking to recoup over 2/3 of the cost of the project, anything under 2/3, it becomes essentially a council decision. The other avenue that have concerns with the plan is there is an appeal mechanism through a VCAT. But in terms of those that can lose to afford to pay it, I guess it's that payment plan and the hardship policy will apply, I assume, given that it forms part of their own notice.
Thank you.
Councillor, no, okay, thank you. Can I please ask for a mover for the recommendation? Ask for a seconder for the motion, please. Councillor Rowe, thank you. Councillor Kirby, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. At present, council does not have a special rates and charges policy. This will provide an option for the funding of projects and programs to have these works funded, and where it can be demonstrated that there is a clear and direct benefit to a group of property owners and the owners who contribute to the project. It should also be noted that if the scheme is abandoned, it should not be considered for a minimum of 5 years. I endorse the draft special rates and charges policy to go out for public exhibition and to hear submissions from the public regarding what their feedback will be. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Rowe, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Yeah, I would. Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to say I really have concerns with the special rates and charges policy, especially in an area where it could affect elderly residents that have been on a road frontage for many years, and a developer comes along and buys the latest frontage and forces these retirees into financial stress with a new footpath or ceiling of their road frontage. However, seeing this as only a draft policy, I'll say no more, and I expect residents and community will make comments during the 4-week exhibition period for this potential funding source for projects. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors wish to speak to this motion? Councillor Sharkey, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, very much. This policy that's been put together comes at the request of us at the early days of this term to ask for this document. It is a fantastic policy to have in place. It is fantastic in theory. In practice, is going to be the biggest challenge going forward. This is going out to public consultation, and I dare say this is probably the most boring policy that has gone out for community consultation. And if we do get one or two people coming back, I'll be surprised. It is a document that a lot of people won't have. I envision won't have an opinion on it because it doesn't affect you till it affects you. So the best community consultation we will have is when we enact in 1, 2, 3, 5 years time this, but there is so many hurdles through this process to get something in. So Councillor Gamble, Councillor Rowe have mentioned a couple of scenarios there. There is 7 steps that we have to go through that process. So I do believe when we get to that stage that any residents, and we can only look at our neighbouring councils that have gone through this process and have been able to achieve so much by having this policy, but we've also made the front page of the newspaper several times because of this, because it can be quite contentious. It is more difficult for us as a peri-urban council than a metro council that when we try and put a policy together and we hit a small township and we expect them to contribute towards curbing, and then we go in Bannockburn and we don't. Things like it is going to be an absolute challenge, and I don't suspect that there will be a lot of challenges there with this. But by having the policy there, it's fantastic to have it there and have the option. So up until now, we've never had that option, as we know, when we're speaking about our budget. We know that we're a tight council, and we know there's a lot of roads or there's a lot of areas where we could do some work. And if the residents were of the opinion, and we have, as the director highlighted there, we have set the benchmark at 60%, which is higher than the Local Government Act suggests. So it's quite good. As I started off, it's great in theory. In practice, let's see what happens. But we're better to have a policy such as this than not to have a policy such as this. But I look forward to all the submissions on the engagement over the next 4 weeks.
Councillors wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Gamble.
Yes, I support this motion. In the broader picture, I commend the council for developing this policy, an option for residents to effectively be able to, under the right circumstance, the right project, etc., to fast track a project of development for local benefit. It does provide an option for funding of projects and to develop a mutually beneficial arrangement or partnership to see things get done perhaps decades earlier than what they may do if people can't come to this sort of, or don't have this option. It is new for our council. I know as Councillor Sharkey mentioned, it needs a clear majority of 60%. We went a bit overs rather than just the 50+1 to ensure that there was a genuine buy-in from the majority of the individuals concerned, property owners or people affected. Given Director Josipovic's response on my question about how we're going to look after people that may not be able to pay, that will be a continuing conversation. But I would hope also that that we do insist on that proportionality of payment. perhaps at least based on their property value or some other mechanism. Because I would remind council that we are probably in the bracket of one of the least fair councils in Victoria, given our significant flat tax, the municipal levy, and also we have the waste charge too, which is also effectively a flat tax. That one's common with all councils. But that municipal levy and these flat taxes proportionally benefit our richest residents and discriminate against people with less means. And then for people with less means to be slugged with another surcharge perhaps that they feel that they didn't want and don't have control over, perhaps, then that would be particularly hard. So I hope there can be mechanisms for looking after those people that might struggle to pay for something that probably is for the common good in that local area. Yeah, it will cover a potential range of projects and development, so it's a little bit hard to speak to directly, but I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Now, councillors wish to speak against the motion. If not, Councillor Cooper,
Thank you. This is not forcing us to put pressure on our residents to upgrade a road, for example. This is when the residents come back to the council and say we would like to see our road upgraded or maintenance work on drainage, etc. So it has, as we've stated, it has to have a 60%. 60% of the residents need to say yes, that they would like to go ahead with this proposal. But I do take on Councillor Gamble's considerations to people who might not be able to pay, and they're one of the minority of that 60% in the range. It'll be interesting to see what comes back from the public. So let's put it out there. Let's see what comes out. Thank you.
councillors on our motion to vote. All those in favour? Carried. Agenda item 7.6, which is located on page 31 of the agenda. Recommendation is read. Are there any questions? Page 31. May I please ask for a mover for the recommendation? Campbell. Ask for a seconder. Yes, sir. Campbell. Good. And so, Dan, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
And there might be a question or two.
I don't know, ask for questions. Was it?
As I mentioned earlier, council sought a refresh of the 2040 community vision. The item on the agenda is an update, effectively asking for endorsement and/or direction. The refresh was sought in council's wisdom because there have been significant changes over the ensuing 3 to 4 years, more so than perhaps other 3 or 4 year periods. Given, I just listed a few things, the COVID pandemic, of course, and that caused major social changes in valuations and ways of seeing the world that many people had, both good and bad, and changes in attitudes and priorities of much of society. There's also been a housing crisis continuing. There are further events relating to climate breakdown that we've experienced in our council and in the Shire area itself, with flood events. We've had fires, and we've even had wind events. And we've also had a surge of growth in the Shire, with many newer residents moving in. So I think it's quite opportune that we had that survey of community opinions and to feed into our council, to our community vision. So I commend the officers on this work. I note there were more than 400 residents were surveyed, and with 85% of these people not having contributed to the original vision. So this is substantially, really substantially, a whole new spectrum of people that haven't previously had their views surveyed, have had them surveyed this time round. Perhaps the actual what was heard over presentation, which that's what this is about, shows that there hasn't been so much change in Golden Plains Shire respondents surveyed as one would maybe expect in other areas. Perhaps it's because we have more space and we have many more stable families, perhaps, and also maybe a lot of the changes that have happened with COVID have had perhaps a bigger effect with youth and less socially engaged or people that with kind of central mainstream values. The report does, however, note some significant changes and things that we can add into the report, including events, housing and affordability, and also to look at the specific target groups of aged and young people. Now, I did actually forget myself. Sorry, I'm a bit hazy tonight with the cold. That I do have an alternative motion, and given that, I'm not sure when I could actually introduce that. At what point?
I think because you did move the original motion. Can't move an alternative there.
I can foreshadow that there is an alternative motion that I've presented to the councillors in order to with the idea that we'll simplify the adoption of this recommendation.
Okay. Councillor Coop, you want to speak to the motion?
I think Councillor Gambler's summed it up very well. I think that we've heard from the residents. We're going forward with the proposals that they'd like to see put in here, and just I'd like to thank everyone who put forward and they come along to the meetings. I know I attended the one at Jareel and a small group, but at least as council we're out there and asking the residents of what they'd like to do with the 2040 vision. Originally we had a lot of depth on board 4 years ago, and I think everyone's happy, and as councillors, you know, this was their vision, and we read into it that this is when we're looking at something or going through something with council, we read over this and we hear the themes coming through that they have told us that they within the council. So, for example, they want a rural shire. They want the feel of a rural shire. So, whenever we're looking at something in planning or something to do within council, these are the things that we reflect back on. We look at what the council, the residents are asking for. So I think, as I said, there was only small changes, but I think once again we have to listen to the community. Thank you.
The other councillors wish to take the motion? Councillor Shea.
Yeah, thanks very much. And appreciating also that this document is, you know, sets that ship on sail and it's headed in this direction. And as time progresses, community sort of says, well, we want to go a little bit this way or a little bit that way. And rather than waiting 10 years and taking a big hard right turn, all we're doing with all this document is doing is just moving a little bit and letting, as Councillor Gamble highlighted there, letting all those residents that weren't part of this 4 years ago have their say and their input and potentially move the ship a little way in direction. But councillors, do not forget, this is not our document. We are not endorsing or we're not adopting anything here. This is not our document. This document is in place. It's gone through this process, and for all those new councillors that came on the last time, you have all appreciated the work that we did as the previous council to get this document as the first document for the new councillor group to come in at the end of this year. And this is the document that guides them with all the decisions over the last 4 years. The next councillor group will adopt this and they will take ownership of this document. So as far as I'm concerned, the community have had their say, and then we've reviewed it. We're going to adopt some of those recommended changes in there, but ultimately the councillor group of 24 to 28 will adopt and endorse this. And for all those little tweaks or little changes, this is a very fluid document. We are able to make tweaks and changes along the way. And as I said, if we want to guide the ship a little bit this way or a little bit that way, we have the opportunity to do so. But all we are doing as the caretakers in this process is listening to the community. We've had our council plan. We endorsed community vision. We've endorsed that. And this is just us in the part of the process, and the next councillor group gets to take full ownership of this and take that forward for the 4-year duration. So thank you very much, and commend all the people behind the scenes that have done a huge amount of work. I've spoken to a good few other councils, and yeah, I don't think they're refreshing theirs as frequently as ours, and we do have to appreciate that we're in a fast changing and fast moving community, so a lot's going to change. So it will change, and the ship will change direction than what we think it is right now. So thank you very much.
Other councillors wish to speak to the motion?
Just a question to the director, please. Thank you. Just confirming that this has to be done by the state government every 4 years, this document? Refresh?
Chair, and thank you, Councillor Kirby. There is a requirement under the Act that it forms part of that process that does need to be uptaken with every new council put in place. As was identified by the councillors, it was such an imperative, important document to help support the development of the new council plan with this new council, and it will provide that good sound foundation for the new council as well. So yes, it does need to be done every 4 years. This also helps that process for the new council, where some of this engagement's already taken place.
Thank you, Director.
Any councillors wishing to speak against the motion? If not, I'll ask Councillor Gamble to close.
Yeah, okay, well, I move the motion, but I'm not going to support it because I think there's a problem.
Point of order.
Order, Councillor. Just go to the vote, Councillor Gamble, that'd be best. And then if it fails, then you can put forward your alternative motion.
Okay, can I draw people's attention to the foreshadowing of
Yeah, you did actually earlier. You can do that.
Thank you.
I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Notice of the motion, nil.
Before we move on to the next agenda item, can I just mention on that item that considered, I believe that
Yeah, Councillor, what's your closed the correct or closed?
it's still on the table, it's a debate closed. We haven't moved on.
Council's made a decision, move on.
Question or anything out of it, but you can't revisit.
Point of clarification. Am I wrong in believing that we should have been adopting amendments to preference the options and other variants that are listed in this actual recommendation?
That's indeed what in the opposite recommendation of 2,
Review attached.
review the attached and adopt the recommended changes to update the community vision to 2040 document. The officers have put recommended changes before council. So reading that, that's what will transpire final document.
Okay, can I just ask, that means then that the preferred options are the ones that will be adopted?
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Agenda item 9, petitions, 9.1 petition, local pump tracks and bike paths in Third councillors to page 36 of the agenda, recommendation. Are there any questions to directly raised?
It's not in
We just
already. We'll have a different vote.
any questions? If not, may I please ask for a mover for the recommendation? Kirby, I ask please for a seconder. Like, Councillor Kirby, speaks to the motion, please.
Yes, I'm really pleased to hear that we've received a petition from the youth at Haddon regarding wanting a local pump track and bike paths in Haddon. This has been sent to the Chief Executive Officer, and I think that the youth of the area, they put it out there, they're looking for extra activities to do. We talk about COVID, kids being stuck inside. This is another way of getting them outside, getting them off their devices. And, if, you know, we can help them in their process of growing up and being outdoor children and young adults, I think this is a good way to go. So I fully support any outdoor activities for the youth, and especially when they're free activities where the parents, as we know, are always going to different sports. The majority of kids now might play 2 or 3 different sports, but to have some downtime, some free time with their friends and mates, I think this, and close to home, I think this is a great opportunity. So there was a lot of signatures on the petition. And so, as we can see, we had 83 from Haddon, we had 23 from Smythes Creek, quite a lot around the rest of the area. But I think going forward, I think this is a great initiative from the youth putting this forward. So, thank you.
Councillor Getz, would you like to speak to the question?
Yes, I just support Jeff Kirby in that as well, and also I think the young chap that organised this petition was a bloke, a young boy Jarvis, who I met at the Haddon Primary School probably 12 months ago at the mayor's presentation. Up there, he spoke on behalf of the school and also approached me and asked about this the bike thing in Haddon or whatever. So they have been using it in Parks Victoria, Rebecca, and I believe they were going to be issued with a $1,200 fine. Waylaid, I think, overlooked it, and they've got nowhere to go. So the only place they could probably go is near the Lions Park or whatever, but they certainly need something to keep them off the roads. And they're very involved. It's a very big school, very big community, and growing by the year. And it's something that I think would be a great benefit for the young youth in the area. Thank you.
Any other councillors wishing to speak to the motion? Councillor Sharkey, thank you.
Yes, the voice of common sense isn't always best place to be, but a petition that is put forward usually comes out of angst. A community is in angst because of a reason, and residents will get together and put a petition together. I appreciate and commend the work done by the youth here and what they've done, and I'm sure not too sure the chap's age, but any young chap that comes with a petition wanting whatever, we'll get lots of people to sign it. But we do have to appreciate and be upfront and honest with the community. This is not my personal preferred way that advocacy should happen. We have Haddon, we've got a community plan there. The community plan, the last one which I've seen is probably now 4 years out of date, and that's a great spot to put that there and let the community come and put their voice, and we want a bike track or we want X, Y and Z, and then let it build up from that into our other priority projects. But to come through a petition and all of us to stand around and say, oh, this would be fantastic, you know, we've got very short memories if we don't appreciate the bike track or the that went up in Meredith, and that sort of came with a little bit of this, and then the state government had a little bit of fund money, which they wouldn't have it at right now, and suddenly there was a $500,000 project that turned into a nearly $1 million project. I think it was about $900,000 in the end. We don't have that sort of money as a council to go. So, I mean, it is absolute wishful thinking that we can just, I'd love to see a pump track or bike track or in every small township. But in my opinion, this isn't a petition. This shouldn't be before us. This should be something that we should use the energy of this youth, get them involved in the youth groups and get them feeding into our council plans and into the community plans. But I just don't want to send a message to the community group, oh, if you want something, just put a petition in, because we've probably had more petitions in the last 6 months than what we've had in my last 6 years. It's not, you know, if we're all going to sit around here and sort of say, oh, this is great, I'd love a bike track there or a pump track. But let's work with these youth. I seen there on my Facebook page there the other day, I don't recall what council it was, but there was I don't know whether it was state government funded, but there was temporary pump tracks that were set up. Be great to sort of offer that to areas, but I mean, we don't have $1 million to do this. This won't happen in a short amount of time, but let's be a little bit more strategic. Again, I commend the work of the youth here getting activated, and let's hope something might happen in that region. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speak to the motion. Councillor Campbell.
Yeah, I also commend the passion of the youth and the signatories that are active in cycling, and really feel the need for a facility to challenge and entertain. But yeah, we do have a broad strategy that we decided to concentrate these cycling bike parks in regions, central places, rather than have them in each town, because then we would be they'd be unviable and we couldn't afford to do it in every town, unfortunately. So with Skipton, and the money's concentrated, sorry, with Smythesdale, the money's been concentrated there, about 7 kilometres from Haddon. To be honest, I think Ross Creek would have a better case for having its own bike park, given that it doesn't have the rail trail to go down to Smythesdale on, as Haddon kids could access it that way. Because kids at Ross Creek, Captain told me that they won't let their kids use the I think it's Sebastopol Smythesdale Road there that goes through Ross Creek, because it's quite narrow, it's curvy, and people do that, drive a bit recklessly on there, I've heard. So unfortunately, we accept the petition, but unfortunately I can't see it getting up, to be honest, because of those reasons I've stated there. If in the future, if we have more money and we're more in surplus as a council, we could consider those things, especially with more numbers of residents coming into towns in the north there too. Thank you.
Councillors wishing to speak against the motion? Sorry. Councillor Kirby, would you like to close?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So what have we heard around the table, Mr. Mayor?
Question?
We have heard that we understand that the youth need extra activities, but at the same time, are our local leaders within the community are running the community plans and the community visions? Are they talking to the youth and asking them what they want? It doesn't sound like they are. This is the reason why the youth have had to come with a petition to council to get their voice heard. And we are listening, and I think at the end of the day, when it goes around the table with our strategic planning, this definitely has to come on the table, and it has to come on the table for a lot of our small, not councils, our small towns. So this is something that, you know, 9 out of 10 times, we're not going to let our kids ride 7Ks to Ross Creek, or we're not going to let them ride 7Ks to another town. It's just too dangerous and parents won't allow it. But they will let their youth ride down to their local facility. It's all about community planning. It's all about us activating and making sure that we can find the money, find the resources, find the wind farms, find the other philanthropic groups that can help build these things for the youth in the towns. But once again, it comes back to the kids aren't being listened to, and we've got to make sure that our youth team is up there talking to the kids and making sure that they know the right processes to go through. So once again, I'm just saying, good on the kids for putting this forward, and we are listening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Motion to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Petition 9.2, improve safety at Browns Road. Our road. Section. I'll refer to council for page 4 of the agenda. I think the motion is read. Any questions to Director Gray regarding Councillor Road?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask just a general question. Has any of the officers actually been and inspected this intersection?
I make a question for Councillor. Sorry.
Please, if they could, and just
Yes.
if there is an issue.
Yes, there is an issue, not a typology. There is an issue where the bushes and vegetation has creeped out, right? And we've programmed it to address it. Which will be pretty much the response next month to the petition. Give you a more definitive timeline.
When do they expect to have the works done?
The assessment by the arborist was that the works could be done within the next 2 to 3 months.
Thanks very much, Director.
Councillor Gamble.
My question was along similar lines, having spoken to Director Josipovic about this issue previously, and appreciating he's on top of and understand the issue. And I was just wondering, stage of addressing the issue, whether it's been addressed already, but not, it sounds like it hasn't yet, but it's.
I don't believe it has, because I know responding to a customer request from the petition, the inspection was done, it was assessed as urgent and will be done, but programmed for the next 2 to 3 months is my understanding. I haven't heard that it has been done, so it has.
Councillor Sharkey.
Just a question on the process of a petition. What we're adopting the recommendation that this is we refer this petition to the CEO for consideration and response. Appreciating that this is an issue that sounds like it's going to be dealt with in a short amount of time. Does the lead petitioner have the option to communicate with council and have confidence that something's going to be done and then withdraw a petition during a process?
Take notice.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, they can, but I wouldn't see a need to do that. It's just, I guess it's unfortunate that the residents decided not only to put in a CRMS, but also a petition that would have been handled through the CRMS process. So now that we've received it, we'll write a report and it'll come back and we'll say exactly what the group said. And by the time you see it, it will be actioned, I'm sure.
Please ask for a move for the recommendation. Councillor Lowe, thank you. Can I ask for a second, please? Councillor Sharkey. Councillor Lowe, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. Look, I'm over to improving safety when it's been identified by public. As we know, a petition's been submitted to the council seeking council support for the removal of vegetation back to the fence line southwest the relevant intersection that we're speaking about, and they want installation, I think, of guideposts. Got to remember, petitions are a form of community engagement. Petitions allow community members to demonstrate community support for a request or views on matters and for the request or view to be presented directly to council. So, yeah, a little bit important that they put this petition in. I support it, and no doubt something is already going to be done with the vegetation. Anyway, this has come to us. Happy to,
Councillor Sharkey.
Yeah, thank you very much. Taking on some of like I said in the previous report, petitions come from angst. It comes from a point of angst, and as Councillor Kirby mentioned on the last one, the kids don't feel like they're being communicated to. I'm disappointed that petitions are coming to us at such a low level, as the CEO acting CEO identified there. This is already lodged in this CRM process. So, in my personal opinion, a petition like this should not come to us until it's been through that process. So we've got to put some mechanisms there with petitions to be able to communicate with the public better. What we're doing by adopting this and having this issue fixed, we are also sending a clear message to the community. If you want something done, forget about the CRM, forget about speaking to any councillors, forget it, just get some residents together and sign a petition. That's not what I'd like to see going forward. I'd like to see us having, and yes, it is community engagement, but it's pretty poor community engagement in my opinion. There should be better avenues there and better steps and processes rather than sort of putting a petition together and fast tracking everything. As the director and the CEO have outlined, this issue's already been addressed, so it didn't really need to come to us, but it is here. And for me, my takeaway on these two petitions is that there's some angst there from the community not being heard, because these petitions shouldn't come to us. That angst should be stopped there, and the residents' ratepayers' concerns should be addressed prior to having to need to put a petition together. Thank you.
Other councillors wishing to speak to the motion? Councillor Kirby.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say I disagree, Councillor Sharkey. The woman who is the lead petitioner in this actually come up and spoke to us at the Smythesdale listening post, where all us councillors were present. And this was looked into. It was looked into by the CEO. And what had happened is she felt that she wasn't being listened to. No disregard to the previous CEO, but what she was trying to get across the point was that some of the bushes that were in the gutters were, impeding their view around the corner. Now, when you can't, so yes and no, some people might have a better vision around the corners, some people don't. Either way, she had already taken this to council and she wasn't heard, she wasn't listened to. That is why she has put the petition in. So good on her for doing so, and the other petitioners who signed the petition. I think if they're not going to get heard and listened to, especially when it's something of vital, that is vitally important, especially regarding safety on roads and you can't see because of the bushes across the road, and especially when cars are doing 100 kilometres on our rural roads. They're not doing 20 or 40 Ks like they do in the city. They're doing 100 Ks. So we have to take notice and listen to their concerns when it comes to safety. So good on this lady for bringing it to our attention, wanting some action done, and thank you to the director, because as he said, this will be followed up in the next within the next couple of months, and to be honest, the sooner the better. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Kirby, any councillors wishing to speak to the motion? Speak to the motion. Councillor Campbell, thank you.
I support Councillor Rowe's point of supporting the petitioners, and I myself believe there could be and should be a lot more in our council, but I accept Councillor Sharkey's point that in general we it would be best. We do need to make sure that we're not getting loaded up with issues that would generally go through the CRMS system and be addressed in a bit more time. I don't know the story, the case history about this particular issue that Councillor Kirby related to, and it'd be interesting to find out the full details there. But yeah, but while I think there is a case and very much support petitions and petitioners, we do have to ensure that they're for substantial issues that can't be addressed through the normal process.
Thank you very much. Any other councillors wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll ask Councillor Ray to close.
Yes, thanks, Mr Mayor. I have nothing further to add really, but I'd just like to thank my councillors for their input into this item 9.2. Thank you.
I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Now move on to business, with there is none. Right, confidential reports of decision. There are confidential items for consideration tonight. These items are confidential as defined in Section 3 of the Local Government Act. Can I please have a councillor to move the recommendation to the closed session? So, Rowe,
Could we just have 5 minutes prior to this, please?
should be okay.
Recess.
Recess. Seconder,
A second.
5 minutes.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay.
All those in favour? Against?
Right.